おはようございます。
朝早いのにありがとうございます。
朝6時です。
朝6時ですか？
大丈夫です、大丈夫です。
大丈夫？素晴らしい。どちら出身ですか？
私はマニラ出身です。でも今、シアトルに住んでいます。
そうなんですね。お仕事何されてるんですか？
私は日立で仕事してます。10ヶ月ぐらい働いてます。今年2月から日立で働き始めました。
すごいかっこいいですね。お仕事、忙しいですか？
最近、忙しいと思います。たくさんプロジェクトあります。いくつかのプロジェクトは新しいです。その他は昔からのプロジェクトです。
そうなんですね。そういえば、日本に旅行したことありますか？
はい、したことあります。今年の夏に東京と大阪と京都行きました。
なんか食べました？
たくさん食べました。
食べまし
美味しいです。
た。よかったです、よかったです。週末はいつも何してるんですか？
釣り行きます。
うん。
釣り大好きです。
いつも何釣れるんですか？
いろいろです。鮭とマスとカニ釣ります。
カニ？
カニ、はい、
いいですね。カニ大好き。
美味しいです。美味しいですね。
美味しいですよね。すごい。日本語が上手ですけど、JLF のレッスンどうでしたか？
JLF のレッスンは楽しかったです。先生小林さんからたくさん学びました。日本語の自信がつきました。
Feel like learning Japanese is too damn hard for you? Stop slaving away at grammar, words, and spelling. Now there's a better way to learn how to speak Japanese like a normal guy. Welcome to Terumi's podcast. Let's learn Japanese in just 2 months with Terumi's learning method.
Welcome to my YouTube channel for the first time. How do you feel? どうですか？
I was kind of nervous, but we've spoken before, and I've spoken to people on the JLF team. They're very nice people, and I enjoy the conversation. So thank you for inviting me.
Amazing. And first of all, congratulations on your completion of level 1 and
Yeah.
also this Japanese experience. I mean, on the camera, I mean, in front of the camera. I really impressed. You actually didn't stutter at all. How do you practice? How do you feel?
I mean, the JLF model is learn a few phrases, practice it a lot, try to internalize it in your mind. And so that's what I did. My teacher encouraged me, just practice, just continue saying it. Terumi-san would always tell me, you would tell me on the videos, take a phrase, say it 10 times, make it roll off your mouth naturally. And it takes a while, but with enough practice, you get comfortable with it.
Amazing. And also, really would like to dig into the lifestyle in the States because it's most of people when they decided to learn Japanese is they already start living in Japan, right?
Right. Yeah.
But it's you are living in the States, and really, I'm sure few people decided to really be able to speak, not just watching anime. It's not just entertainment. No, seriously, you want to
Yeah.
be able to speak Japanese. What do you think about it?
It's hard because you don't get to practice a lot. The people around you don't speak Japanese, very, very little. When you do meet people, they want to speak English to you, so it gets even harder. But I work at a Japanese company, and once in a while, I would have meetings with people from Tokyo or for other parts of Japan, and it makes a big difference that you get to try, that you show that you try to learn their language, and they're very, very appreciative about it.
So you already mentioned that you have studied Japanese a little bit with the textbook before, but what was actually the experience before starting up Japan Language Factory?
Yeah, and before, the usual textbook style learning of Japanese, you would read it and then you would try to memorize it, but you really don't get the context with, speaking to someone, trying it out in different subjects. And what happens is you don't, it's hard to internalize. And if you don't practice it so that it rolls off your tongue easily, you tend to forget it, right? This is different because this one, you're not focused on reading and trying to figure out what the characters are. You're focused on the conversation. You're focused on what is the topic. Okay, how do I describe this topic? What are the adjectives? What are the verbs? Okay, how do I put that together? Ooh, that's a simple way of putting it. So let me practice that. And then as you start building these different phrases, you start to realize like one of the lessons, I think we were in the, we were further along, like 2/3 of the way of the course, and we would go back and look through our notes and go like, wow, we've covered a lot. And it's part of the conversation because what the JLF sensei was showing was today's lesson is this, but then let's go back and review it. And it's all repetition. So, the focus is continue saying it, because she was saying like I can already see progress, that you are using phrases that you didn't use before, and you are actually trying new sentence structures that you never used before. So which was interesting. So I it felt good. The confidence was there that you were building the skill. So
What do you think? Why you could learn not just a 1,000 hours like with so many textbook, and you just did 30 sessions? Why do you think it's like so short? And
because
you still
because
fit.
yeah, because the style here is like how you learn in life. You learn it from what you learned the day before. You practice it today so that you get better tomorrow, right? You don't think about like what I'm gonna do 30 years from now. No, you're looking at the yesterday. Okay, I learned that. Let me practice it. And when I practiced my lessons, I mean, sometimes I take sometimes 10 minutes, sometimes 30 minutes. If I have time, I'll practice more. But the thing is like you've got it, you got the notes, you can look at it on your computer, look at it on your phone, and wherever you are, you just kind of like say it again and again and again. And afterwards, you're gonna start to see like, hey, that sounds a little bit more natural. Some of them, I'll admit, the structures are difficult. The Japanese language structure is a little difficult. But when you go like, oh, I see why you're doing it that way. And then over time it gets better and better. You kind of get used to it. And then
Mm-hmm.
suddenly you find yourself using it. And
Mm-hmm.
Chihiro-san would look at like, you've never used that structure or sentence before. That's good. You've been practicing. I go like, yeah, it's true.
And so you actually go into the company, which is
Yep.
Japanese company, you're going, and then outside of the company, not much maybe opportunity to speak Japanese, but usually do you practice at your home and then you try at the
Yeah, you
company?
try.
Like,
Yeah, you look for opportunities. Like I mentioned, living here in the US, you don't really have that much opportunities. So once in a while, you meet a friend. I have a few friends who lived in Japan, and you try talking to them. You're like, oh wow, okay, cool. Then let's talk. Once in a while, you decide to go out and go out to dinner, and you go to an omakase, and the chef decides to serve you something, and you say something in Japanese, and they look at you and go like, "Oh, interesting," and then you start having a conversation. So you try to make the most of every little opportunity to have conversations with people, and of course, at work, we're a global company, so I meet with different nationalities, but once in a while we do have conversations with people from Japan, and then those opportunities, even if it's just the first part, like the usual introductions. Hi, how are you? It's been a while. Is it cold there? It's a good opportunity to practice, because honestly, I have not gotten to the point where I'm good even with Japanese English. That Japanese business Japanese. I'm sorry, business
mm-hmm.
Japanese. That's hard. But
Definitely.
yeah. So, but if I can practice Japanese in the start with the nice courtesies, and how are you doing? What are you doing for summer? What did you do in the weekend? And then at the end, when you're saying, "Oh, thank you for all of this. I'm going to get back to you on what we talked about. I'll see you next week." At least even in those two ends, you kind of get to practice it, and then they respond, and you go like, "Wow, I'm communicating."
Wow, that's excellent. Amazing. One message to the people who already discouraged, like you said, it's a green textbook, you just equate it and like it stop a while. A lot of people actually do that, like even they're living in Japan for or even working in a Japanese company, in the beginning they are excited to learn hiragana, katakana, but at some point they just discouraged, they cannot really make sentences. What is actually the best way to start up and enjoy progress? What is your message?
I think the If they feel that way, likely it's the style of learning was not adapted to them, or there's probably a better way that they will learn. Trying to learn a conversation is better than trying to learn all the different kanji or katakana or hiragana first. I would say that they should also be inquisitive, not be afraid to make mistakes and ask the teacher, say, well, what's the better way to say it? How can I say this the right way? Because I'm interested of having a good natural conversation, not sound like I'm reading off a textbook. And practice it. For people that are living in Japan, you have an awesome opportunity to practice every day compared to us who don't live in Japan and don't really have that much opportunities to practice it. But when you do, each of these little practices that you have with people, whether you take your lessons to those real life conversations, actually builds the confidence. So don't be afraid to make mistakes. Ask your teacher what's a better way of doing things, and then the little practices that you have every day, will pay off. It'll be something that you'll feel proud of, and you'll enjoy it along the way.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Are you expat live in Japan? You started living in Japan, you're super excited to communicate with locals. You can enjoy traveling, meeting people. And now you start using this textbook and you feel like, wow, that's so many. Elementary school textbook, another elementary school textbook, and how many hours should you study? Let's think one more time. In order to communicate like a normal guy, you can do everything in the basic everyday life. Should you finish all those textbooks? Otherwise, you won't understand what they're talking. You cannot express yourself, anything. First of all, there are always two ways to learn languages. One is documentational language. The other one is conversational language. It's like, once upon a time, grandmother and grandfather are living somewhere. Or, hey, what's up? How's it going? Which is conversational. What is the most effective way to learn how to speak Japanese? Textbooks can't talk to you, so you cannot improve your listening skill and pronunciation, how to communicate. So why Japanese children can speak Japanese so quickly? Because they are learning conversational Japanese. The good news is, in Japan Language Factory, we have a specific learning structure to improve your conversational Japanese. So you can join the conversation, you can understand what they're talking, you can respond quickly, and express what you are thinking. If you want to be able to speak Japanese as soon as possible, join our free consultation to figure out what is the fastest way to start speaking Japanese.